We are on a journey here today. We're on a journey to uncover the secrets of living with favor. Once again, favor is an acronym, and it's the 5 pillars that caused my personal growth, allowing me to embrace, experience, and feel the fulfillment of running my own business. These were the pillars that have kind of popped out for me over the last 40 years. But favor is an acronym, and it stands for faith, abundance, vitality, overflow, and relationships. So the promise of this show is to introduce you to experts so that you can ask the tough questions and get real solutions from women who've already been there. I'm Lisa Mosby, your host of Living with Favor. Thank you so much for joining us again today. You know, I'm here to fulfill a purpose that I discovered after being in business for so long, and that purpose is to advise, train, and come alongside you with simple solutions for life and business. So I am honored to be able to invite in my friends who are experts in their field so that they can pour into you and hopefully encourage you to reach out and explore being your own boss, or if you're in business, stick with it. We're your quitting coach. We don't want you to quit because the world needs the services that you're offering. So today we all want to live, happy, healthy, and hopeful lives. So what's stopping us? As we chat with my guest, Dr. Odette King, today we're hopeful to discover some of the blocks and solutions that can move us through those blocks. Dr. King has been in the wellness world for over 25 years. So she's right up there with me. We have some longevity in the room, some experience to pour into you. She's been studying and improving chronic diseases over those years, but she's shifting in a new direction. And I wanted you to hear from her and her to come in and share that with you. So welcome, Dr. King. Welcome, Odette, my friend.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, my pleasure. I ask each guest if there is one of those favor principles that have kind of shown up in their world, over the years. And I know you really gave it some thought. You had shared some tips with me, and I want to invite you to share that with the audience. What principle stands out for you and why?
Thank you, Lisa. I love how you have framed the word favor. And you have every letter has a component, and it's expandable because, so is favor. Like you want it to be never ending and abundant, and you want it to, work in your relationships. You want it to, always have an overflow of it, and you want vitality and you want faith. And I believe in every single one of those because I do believe that like life is like soup. You need a little bit of every ingredient to make it work. And and sometimes, you feel like you need a little bit more of one than the other, but they all have to be up in the air to land in the pot, so to speak, right? So that we can
great
have
analogy.
A favorably flavored soup of life. So I do like that. What landed with me and maybe ties in more with what I do on a day-to-day basis and how I have been trained professionally and for my life's work is vitality. I kind of hone in and focus on vitality. So I like to help everyone around me, starting with myself, but also everyone around me and my clients. And I don't call them patients anymore because patient kind of gives you the idea of you're sick. So we're moving away from that. We are always moving towards vitality, and that means the absence of sick. So I'm going to focus on vitality, and my business focuses on vitality. And I can open that up a little bit for, more. But vitality, I was thinking it means that small hinge that opens the big door. So vitality, if you have that or have enough of it, will open the door of abundance and will, give you positivity and motivation, and that increases your faith. And and you can invest in your relationships when you feel like it, when you have the energy to go out and do things and meet people and pour into them. So vitality to me is a very key ingredient that it's kind of maybe like the stock in the soup. You always have to have that.
You do. Yeah. Before we get into the new direction of your business, I just want to go back. I want to take a quick look back over 25 years. We have no time to dive into this, but I want to know, how did you get into that field of chronic disease and working with folks in that arena?
Okay, so how did I get into that? Well, I went to well, I loved sciences and life sciences, in school, in college. I ended up liking them a lot. And I majored in biology, I majored in chemistry. I loved medicine. So I ended up going to pharmacy school and I became a doctor of pharmacy. My pharmacy school had a very strong program for actually for what they call pharmacotherapy. Excuse me. And that is treating. And that's where I learned and trained how to help people with their chronic diseases. And I mean, everyone knows what chronic diseases is. Those are that, the diseases that stay with us. For example, if you cut your, leg, or you break, a bone, and you end up in the hospital, or you need to have an appendix removed, that's not chronic. That's acute. That happens and you get over it. But chronic is something like diabetes and blood pressure medication, issues, and heart disease, like those, like you have, you'll have with you all the time. Unfortunately, now cancer has become something chronic that we have been dealing with. So I moved into the arena of helping and managing and overseeing people's mainly medication treatments, when it comes to that. But then over my career, I have, delved more into research, and then more and more the last 10 years, I've become more integrative, looking into like opening that scope and looking into what else helps and what else hinders. So that's how I've become to be somewhat of maybe an expert, and not necessarily an expert because no one ever is, but knowing where to help and knowing again what hinge is opening those big doors, or keeping them from opening and leaving them shut. So
yeah. And you are an expert. Every woman that I come on here, they go, do you have to use the word expert? And honestly, I do. No one lasts for 25 years in an industry if they don't know what they're doing. So my dear friend, you are an expert, and I want everyone to hear from you because of that. Chronic disease can be devastating. It can be, overwhelming. The emotional components, the physical pieces of it, the mental stress and strain that it creates.
Mhm.
So I know that kind of you're bringing in a lot of these other tools to help people in addition to the pharmacotherapies, but taking into account the whole person, holistic living. How do we work with their mind, their body, their spirit, all of those pieces, maybe even their faith, because we know faith can heal as well. So,
Absolutely.
what's a constant emotional or an emotional observation that you've discovered while working with folks who have chronic disease? What's kind of come up in that arena?
Oh, and it's not one thing, it's many things.
Yeah, a couple,
But
like
yeah,
share a couple. Yeah.
but I will share a couple. I think that one thing is that chronic disease is debilitating, and it also puts a huge burden on you. You mentioned all of those burdens, and even financial burdens. So if you look at the statistics, most Americans end up depleting their lives savings towards the end on medical expenses, for example. We are always, and so that is one thing that I've realized. So that's how I put together my business. The name of my business is Light Living Now. And the light component is that having no burdens, like living lightly, like not carrying these burdens. And that includes having chronic disease. I'll give you an example. Like if you have chronic headaches, or if you have debilitating migraines, even if you just have an attack of it, it's not common or chronic, but you just happen to have a really bad attack of a headache, just picture that you're not really good at your relationships. You have no patience, and you won't enjoy a conversation like you would if you were, feeling perfectly well. So that, or maybe you will not perform at your job. You're not all 100% there because, you can't focus, or you can't, you can't be productive. So that is very important. And that's what I found out, that chronic disease, and something that we're chronically dealing with, does put a huge burden, not just on us, but our sphere of influence. And that is our family, our friends, our community, our workplace, and so on and so forth, and our productivity overall. But then one thing that can remedy that is hope. When you have even that glimpse of hope, like when someone comes in and says, you know what, forget about what all the other doctors have said, I'll help you. Like there is something we can do. And that perks you up internally. And that actually, hope does tap into faith. So faith is believing something that you don't see. It's not in front of you right now, but you believe it, that there's something inside of you that knows that it's possible and it's possible for you. So I like to tap into hope for every single person. And for every individual, hope may have a different flavor. So those are the two things I can share now, because I know our time is limited. So the
Yeah.
obstacle, the burden, and what can lift it immediately. Like there's like a
So,
glimmer of hope can lift it, because then you're motivated, you work towards it, you seek out, and then you accept what you're given. Because a lot of people are given good advice, like doctors or healthcare professionals, or even anyone else can give them something good, but you have to take it and use it. And if you are hopeless, you won't, and we see that with people who are chronically depressed, and anyways, so I'm going to stop there.
yeah, no, that I want you to keep going. This is really good, because we don't know. Oftentimes when we're in that burdensome scenario, we can't see the light through the end of the tunnel. We can't get to the other side of it. And so bringing that into your business and how you're working with folks. So there's two different, I know you're creating a shift in your business, and there's two different components. So you're working still with patients and offering hope in one arena, I think zeroing in on moms, correct me if I'm wrong.
Well,
And then the
I'm not
coaches.
zeroing in on moms, but I do
Okay.
have a heart to help moms, especially
Okay.
moms who are overwhelmed and they are over indented, and they have so much that they're juggling, and they find themselves completely physically depleted and mentally drained, so I do feel like I can jump in and help right then and there.
Okay.
And shifting into creating also not just what I can do, but like I have an environment of other, moms who can come and support. So that is always going to be, one of my one of my areas that's on my heart. But it's not
Yeah.
to say that if you're not a mom, you won't benefit. And of course, I believe that you don't have to be a quote unquote mom to be mothering. A lot of us are in
Yeah.
that role. There are even fathers who are moms. So
Yeah.
so
Or
I
aunties.
don't want aunties. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
You support. We need that. We need like the R in your favor. It's the relationship. Our relationships are fluid, and we jump into those roles and help each other out. So yeah, but we do have a group for moms that it's a place and a container to come and be filled and fulfilled, and also collaborate with other moms and just tap into wisdom that you don't always have when you're in the trenches as a mom. You don't have time, and you don't know, and you're always hard on yourself. Most moms that I know are so hard on themselves, and they need extra support and taking that burden off of them.
So that sounds like your extracurricular. I know that you do that. You have that moms group. We've been working on setting up some digital assets around that, a landing page and some email campaigns. So you've got that, and we'll make sure that we connect the moms who are watching this show into that. We'll have a link for you in the show notes where you can get connected with those folks. But then you're coaching coaches and you're still working with patients. Are those the other two aspects that you work with folks, other two areas?
I do. I do work one-on-one, and I am now more moving into maybe having like more like groups of like-minded, or people who are going through the same experience together. So I'm more moving towards that. So in that sense, I do have some flexibility to work with people one-on-one and then the group. But I do want to also say something about that. Like I always say, this is a joke, but it's not a joke, maybe it's a pun, but like it has to be everything you do like in this container of I want to get better physically, mentally, like in my life, is an AI solution, right? And AI not as an art, because that's a buzzword right now. AI, it's like artificial intelligence. No, not artificial intelligence. AI as an awareness and intention and individualized. So you have to have a full scope of awareness of what's going on, and so that's like the big bird's eye view of what's going on in the context of what that individual is experiencing, that person's experiencing with their health and unwellness, or dis-ease or disaster, and all that, all the dis words. However, you need it to be individualized. And then once you put that prescription individually for the person, to borrow something from pharmacy, a prescription individually for that person, then you want to put focused intention on it so that they can get better. So right now in my business, I'm trying to get that AI component of what I do and be able to hand it over so that you can do it for yourself. So I'm bringing, these principles and solutions that maybe like a group can work on it together. And also because I have realized over the last few years that community is so important. When you do things together, when we have a group that's going through the same experience together, our results are amplified. And and when you are given a chance to give at the same time as you're receiving, the benefits are exponential for all the members. So that's why I am focusing on putting more groups together, and specifically certain groups for women, because women, we are social animals, and we love being around other women. And so anyway, so I'll maybe talk about that a little bit more. So those are the areas that I'm a little bit pivoting more from one-on-one to groups and containers. However, that's not to be said that I won't be able to help someone, as an advocate, as a health advocate, and someone to come in and look at everything and integratively put the pieces together. Yeah.
And then the piece for supporting coaches, are you also forming a group to help them learn more
I don't
about?
have anything right now. Yeah.
You don't?
I know
Okay.
you're aware of it, because this is like, we have this
That's the secret
advantage
sauce. Yeah.
because we've worked together the last few months we've worked together. So Lisa, know a lot more than anyone else who's listening of what's happening. No, that's just been happening organically, where I have other, I'm finding myself to support other coaches who help with people, and they have different niches, and yet they're like, I need to learn more about this because I'm helping women about, I don't know, maybe sleeping better, or like, what happens in menopause. Well, I have that. I can teach them. I don't have the capacity or the bandwidth to go and help every single person, but these other coaches are. So I can pour into the coaches, and they can go on and serve their, their clients and the women and men that they work with. And ironically, the word doctor, means teacher. So I'm moving more into that teacher. The word doctor in Latin, the root of it is teacher. So you are, enough about a subject that you can teach it. So I'm moving into that, that aspect of it right now. And then I don't know, I don't want to leave without telling everyone or sharing the definition of health. And usually we think of the definition of health as, okay, I'm good. I went to the doctor. They did my blood test, full panels. Everything is clear. Well, that's not really the definition of health. The definition of health is not having a disease. It's not the lack of disease. It is actually being in a state of well-being that encompasses your physical well-being. That's where we go to doctors for your emotional well-being, your mental well-being, and your relational well-being, your social well-being. And that definition comes from WHO, and who is the World Health Organization.
Yes.
So a global definition for health that I like to help expand for those that I work with and teach.
It's all encompassing, the holistic body, the holistic person. I use the term holistic living expert in my definition because I was in that world as a practitioner for a long time, and like you, moved into an educator and becoming a speaker and teaching about wellness and herbs and alternative therapies and different modalities that are available outside of pharmacy, things that work on our mental and our emotional capacity. So we share a common love, a common interest in that. And two, I thought, I'm helping people grow their business side of it, and you're also kind of doing that. We have so much overlap in what it is that we're doing. I know for me, I've learned a lot in my years in business. Part of the impetus for this show was all that experience, being able to pour that into other people. So what would you say your greatest lesson personally is, from the last 25 years? Have you given that much thought?
Wow. Greatest lesson, again, is like so many lessons, but the greatest lesson is to be growth oriented and to be always open and have hope, because being open means, you're hopeful. So you want to see what's out there, and, and I'm not saying to be open and just say everything can come in. No. Also at the same time, cultivate wisdom and discernment and know which is good when, And just because something is good now doesn't mean it's going to be good for you tomorrow. And I'm talking about in context of health and wellness, but also maybe business as well, because again, like how we do one thing is how we do everything in life. So, but again, I want to go back to vitality, because that's what I outlined in the beginning. Prevention is so much more important than a cure. That is something that I found out. So one is do everything you can to prevent, but once something is there, make sure that you're doing the right thing at the right time. So that's where my concept of AI, quote unquote, how I defined it is, you want, because time is of essence, and everything you do is important and adds up. So so again, that's what I wanted to say. So just be open, but also know that there is, it's easier to prevent, heart disease. It's easier to prevent, diabetes. It's easier to prevent something, but then, we're human, and things do go out of order, and we do develop states of disease, and that's okay. And we need to know why, and then be able to do the right thing at the right time. And that's, and I have so many examples, but I know we don't have time for that. So I would say that there's a proverb that says, wise people put wise people or wise counsel around you.
Yeah.
I know, I want to emphasize that, like, you need to have the right answer, the wise counsel at the right time. So the more open you are, and the more integrative you are, I think you have better chances of having good outcomes, and and moving forward with a hopeful plan, and a hopeful plan that is also helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. And we have plenty of time, because this doesn't end at the show. This is just a teaser to introduce people to the experts in my life. And you are an expert. I mean, listen to this lady talk. Oh my gosh. I'm like drooling over here going, prevention, yes. Like, how can we teach prevention? What food should we eat? How much sunshine should we get? How often should we move our body? Those are all pieces of prevention. So connect with Odette and her Facebook group, because that's what you guys are talking about in there, is all of these tools are available to us through different resources. So if you're looking for a place to get connected and logged in, definitely reach out to her. I want to do, this is kind of a shameless plug. I don't normally do a shameless plug, because I let people know what I do at the end, but you and I have been working together in the digital marketing arena for a while, setting up web pages and finding ways to stay in touch with people. So as a business owner, you're doing a big shift from being maybe behind the counter or working in the lab or science or research in that pharmacy area, now to a business owner needing a landing page and email campaigns and website or Facebook groups and all of the different social media platforms. Can you share a little, how has that experience been for you? Is it intimidating? Where have you found comfort and the ability to do all of that, to tackle that new venture in your life? I want to speak to some of our business owners who might just be getting started here.
Well, I don't know about comfort, but comfort is a result of repetition. We get comfortable in things that we are familiar with, and that ends up being our comfort zone, so to speak. So I've always said, oh, I'm not techie. I don't want to be techie, because when you go to pharmacy school, medical school, any kind of, a professional school, you're learning what pertains to that school. And you're not learning, I did not go to business school, I did not go to, so tech school. So when you pivot from working for someone else to working for yourself, all of a sudden you have to put a lot of hats on. Even if you're hiring people, but you still have to put that hat on to know how it fits, right? So in that area, I have found myself really stretched thin, trying to learn what's out there, the technology, learn, how things are done. And that is one area where I say I am very grateful for someone like you who comes into my life, and you're like, oh, that's easy, I could just do this in 2 seconds, and that is very interesting, because by nature I'm curious like you, but by training over the years, I have been taught to just gather info, gather data, analyze it, look at it, like then give it some time and test it out, and then, come up with a new hypothesis or a new idea. And sometimes that doesn't, it doesn't jive with a business that's running, now, and needs solutions like now. I don't have time. And then another thing I have to say is technology has been changing and moving very fast the last few years. Just from my own experience, there's been so many things that when I first started were viable and now they are not. So it's good to put experts around you and people who know what they are doing, and learn from that, and take what works for you and in your business right now. Also, another concept that I love to teach is seasonality. Like there's a season to life, and you have to realize what season are you in. So as an entrepreneur, what season are you in, and what solutions do you need for the season that you're in? That's very important, because when I first started, I did not recognize that I was in the season of just planting a seed. So I was looking for solutions to harvest, for example, I'm just making all that up, but harvest the fruit. Well, I didn't need I didn't need a tractor. I didn't need the big bins, things like that. So it's good to have an advisor that will come alongside of you and tell you, this is what you need right now, and curate that experience for you. Just like a good health advocate and health and wellness partner will come and tell you, don't think of everything else. This is what you need right now. If you, for example, do not have a right diet, no amount of supplement is going to help you, because you are missing foundational pieces, for example. But then when you get to the level that now let's see what needs to be supplemented, then you need the right one. So let's find the right tool, and for how long, for example. So all of those things, just be growth minded and have the timing and have the right experts, and then be hopeful and just trust. And that's that's a component of faith. Have faith and trust that when you're doing the work, the result will come. And if the result is not exactly what you expected, then you can just move with it. You can go with it. Progress over perfection. And perfection is a lie. There is no perfection. I don't know. I mean, perfection to me is like a flat line. It does not, so we have ebbs and flow and seasonality, and we need different things at different times.
Yeah. Is it the chicken or the egg? Do we put the cart before the horse? Everything has its natural flow, the order that it's coming in, and what season are we in our businesses, in our health, in our relationships, and in our spiritual selves. Where are we at? Our time has come to an end. I knew it would go really fast.
Thank you.
I encourage folks to get in touch with her. I am honored and blessed to get to listen to her wisdom every week as we work on developing her business assets. But I'm so glad to be able to bring Dr. King to you, because her mind just blows me away. It just really extraordinary. Thank you so much for your time and being here and sharing all your wisdom. Where do folks find you, real quick? Where can they find you?
Oh, well, thank you for having me. And where do they find me is, okay, so my business website, or my website, is lightlivingnow.com. So there's the three words light, as in being like, not burden, but light. And also the light that comes in, from the sun. And then living, and then now.com. And then the best way to actually interact with me and see me is, if you are on Facebook, request to join my private Facebook group. And that's also, I think, Facebook groups, and then, / light living now. But
okay. And we'll have that in the show notes.
Yeah. You should.
The link will be in the show notes. Yeah, for sure. Well, again, thank you so much for being this week's guest expert. I truly, truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. We're on a journey together, all of us. We hope that we hope that our audience takes a little knowledge away from this experience, and that it will unleash the confidence in you to discover something unique about yourself that makes you an expert in your life, so that you too can help others. I'm Lisa Mosby, the show host. Thank you for letting me introduce you to my expert friends and share a bit of advice every week. I want you to experience joy and personal fulfillment in running your own successful business to create a residual income for you and your family. If you're ready to expand your business, I'm here to offer simple solutions for digital marketing, accountability, and getting unstuck calls. reach out to me or my team. We're here to reduce your struggles and really truly offer simple solutions, both personally and professionally. If I don't know how to, I know who knows how to. So that's what I'm trying to bring here, is those people that I can connect you with. But the best part of Living with Favor is always the show after the show. It's the time after the show. So if you join us live, we do shut off the recording, we shut off the streaming, and we talk privately for about a half hour, 15 to 30 minutes with the folks that have tuned in live. So I invite you to join the conversation after the show to go deeper and get your questions answered. So join us every Tuesday and start asking those tough questions of our experts. Thank you so much for being here again. Thank you, Dr. King, for being a part of this for me. And I look forward to serving more of you in the future.